How's it going, guys? So with RuneScape Mobile being released now, it's a very popular topic and people are talking quite a lot about it. So I thought that, why not make a video talking about updates that you guys are probably going to want to see in the future for RuneScape Mobile. It is still in early access, so these updates will likely come, and I am just going to address a few things that I think personally need changing, updating, or just improving. If you haven't already seen my RuneScape Mobile video about the top things that you should know about it, then I do recommend going and checking that out because it will probably give you quite a bit of info about it, especially if you're on iOS and you aren't too sure about it but you're still interested in the topic. Then go and check that out, and as always, if you do enjoy this video or if you get some info about it that you didn't know, then drop a like and subscribe, and then other than that, let's get straight into it. So the first thing that I wanted to mention was going to be the UI and how it's a little bit cluttered. Now, I know you don't have much space on your screen, and obviously RuneScape has quite a lot of stuff for the UI to do, but there is definitely some things on the screen that's just not needed to be there, or it's done in the wrong way, in my opinion, like it's taking up too much space. So, for example, the first thing, and probably the most noticeable thing, is going to be the buff bar and the health bar. Like, looking at Nex's health and looking where the buff bar is, it just looks untidy, and I kind of feel like it's just sort of thrown on there. But the way I would sort of suggest to fix this is take the buff bar and allow us to either move it around or pick somewhere to, like, other options to place them, or just resize it. Like, I can see the durations on those buff bars just plenty. It doesn't need to be that big for me. But what I would do is put the health bar at the top. There's quite a bit of space above that buff bar. It doesn't look like too much, but there's enough to use it. And Takimaki mentioned this in one of his other videos. He did a review on RuneScape Mobile and went over the fact that there's quite a lot of space. Just use it sort of like a border around it. They could use that space for the health bar to go up there and then either minimize the buff bar a little bit or just allow us to move it around. I'll put something on screen now of a way that I think you could reorganize things like this to have the health bar in a better place, or even move the buff bar along. The next thing that I wanted to talk about while this is on screen though is the revolution bar on the bottom and the health bar. Now, having those available is always going to be there during combat, because in RuneScape Mobile, having revolution active is going to be the easiest way to do stuff without having to skip through tons of action bars. If you're going to want to do any sort of PVM, then you're going to want this revolution bar there. So looking underneath where the combat circles are, you could easily move the revolution bar to the left and bring the health bar down, and that way it opens up the center of the screen a little bit more. But what you could do is put your buff bar just above that, and if you can minimize the icons just a little bit, just bring them a little bit smaller, then you could fit them in just nicely there. It's all about using the space, I think, with the UI. Also, again, Takimaki mentioned this in his video, and I do apologize for saying that wrong. The map is a big long rectangle and there's no need for it whatsoever. So for example, looking at it now, you can actually see all the empty space that I'm not going to be using, and bringing that just down to a square, or even just letting us stretch it ourselves, will allow to use so much more space. So I think looking at the UI, they definitely need to do some work with that. A few things that I think would be nice to add to it as well would be if they allowed us to possibly move our own combat circles around, if we could just drag those around in a UI option interface thing. Also, another nice addition that would probably be pretty good to have is, at the moment, if you have your combat circles open and you open the backpack, it still just completely overlaps it and takes away half of your abilities. Now, if you are wanting to do a switch, for example, put on a Ring of Vigor and use Death Swiftness, then you're going to have to open the inventory and then put on the ring, close the inventory, use Death Swiftness, then open the inventory again, put on whatever other ring you were using for the stats, Ring of Death, for example, and it's just a lot of navigating through UI that you just shouldn't need to do. If you could have it in a better way, what I would recommend doing is opening the backpack and having it open just below the map and just above the top of the circles, and just having a scroll bar on it. I mean, it wouldn't make too much of a difference. You could position all your items for switching at the top, and then that would allow you to switch through items quite a lot. Considering RuneScape 3, the PVM, quite a lot of it is going to be switching, and it's just going to limit people a little bit too much. For example, if you're at Telos, and I know that people aren't going to be doing Telos on mobile probably, but there's going to be people who play this exclusively on mobile, so if they are wanting to do it, then they're going to need an option like this, or it's just going to be incredibly difficult and a little bit unfair for them. So all in all, for the UI, what I think needs updating is just a little bit of a tidy up and allowing us to move stuff around ourselves, letting the backpack come out over the top when you've got the combat open, and it'd be nice if we could move things like the combat circle around as well, and just having anything that's on screen taking up a bit of space, allowing it to be minimized or stretched ourselves, just like in the main client. So that's the end of the UI talk. That is probably going to be the biggest point for me to talk about, so the rest won't take as long to sort of get through, and I do appreciate you all listening. Hopefully you do agree. If not, then obviously let me know in the comments, see what you think, any suggestions to improve it. Anyway, moving on to the next thing. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is actually just a bug fix, and I'm sure they'll sort this out pretty quickly, as well as obviously everything else in the game. It is early access and they will be improving RuneScape Mobile quite a bit, so just to get this one out there, the icon to run on the map sometimes just disappears, it's just not there, but at the same time when you get this bug, the compass doesn't have any directions on it. You can still click the compass and it'll make you face north, but it doesn't have any sort of icons or text on it for you to sort of actually know where you're going. So it's just little things, it's nothing massive, but especially if you are doing something where you want to be walking or need to go from walking to running, having that bug at an inconvenient time could be incredibly frustrating. Obviously, like I say, this is still early access. There are going to be bugs, and I'm sure Jagex will do a pretty damn good job of getting rid of these bugs and sorting them out. They seem to have brought the mobile client along quite a lot. So if you guys know any other bugs, drop them in the comments, let people know, and then obviously the more publicity they get, the quicker they're going to get fixed. The third thing that I wanted to talk about actually is not a bug, and it's just definitely something that I think they should bring back, considering it was there before they did the revamp of the UI. It's the coin pouch not being in the inventory or having the price checker there. Now, the reason this is helpful and the reason it's kind of a little bit irritating that it's not there anymore is when you're doing sort of something AFK to make a little bit of money by doing PVM. For example, I used to do Dark Beasts quite a lot. Now, it would be nice every now and again for me to quickly open that price checker between kills, throw all my stuff in there and know how much I've profited in the last hour. Say if I'd been there for 2 hours, know how much I did on the first hour, and then know how much I've worked out on the second hour. But I can't do that anymore because you have to open up the interface to go into worn equipment stats, scroll down to the price checker, open it through that, by which time I'm being attacked again by auto retaliate or something, and it's just a little bit inconvenient for people who are trying to AFK on RuneScape Mobile. Now, there's not really any reason why they took this away from what I can see. There could be, maybe the code didn't work, or maybe there's a good reason why they didn't. If you could think of it, let me know in the comments. But adding the scroll bar to the inventory isn't really a problem. Like, they did make it so that all of the rows do fit nicely, but there's still a lot of space at the bottom if you don't have anything open below that. So I think having it there on a scroll bar is not too much of an issue. It's quite nice to be able to scroll down and just instantly price check something, or just see how much money you've got. If you're doing something that gives you coins straight away, high alching is another thing. You could then drag straight from your inventory to the high alch thing. At the moment, you can't do that. You'd have to put a high alch spell on your skill bar, I suppose. So I think bringing that back will definitely be something worthwhile and something that probably a lot of people are going to be looking to do. I'm sure plenty of you guys who have just downloaded RuneScape Mobile have come on, wanted to price check something, looked for your coin pouch in your inventory and gone, where the bloody hell is that? And not thought, maybe I should go to my worn equipments tab and have a look in there, because that doesn't really, no, that's not going to be where it is. But it is. So anyway, if you couldn't find it and now you do know where it is, glad I could help. So Jagex, bring back the coin pouch please at the bottom of the inventory, please. To be completely honest with you guys, the next one is kind of selfish for myself, and that is the free cam being available on RuneScape Mobile. There's probably a good reason why it's not available. I don't know, to be honest, but the option to click it is there when you right click on the map, but it just says it's not available on Android. Maybe they've just not sort of thought about putting that in yet, but I'd be able to make such better videos and sort of nice scenery and screenshots and whatnot on mobile if I could do this. You can't minimize all of the UI fully, so it'd definitely be nice if I could do that. I'm sure there's going to be people who play RuneScape Mobile exclusively, and I wouldn't be surprised if some people try and start off a YouTube channel exclusively on RuneScape Mobile. And obviously, the more content creators we get for the game, the more publicity the game gets, and probably the more players we're going to get. All it takes is for someone to Google best MMORPG on mobile, and then RuneScape Mobile pops up and someone goes, whoa, well, I'll give it a go. So the more people we can do making videos, it's going to help them out having the free cam enabled. So please, Jagex, again, please put free cam in. It'll help me out so much. So the final thing that I wanted to talk about in this video, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of more things that you guys can share with me in the bottom, but the final thing I wanted to talk about was the ribbon bar on the right hand side. Now, as you can see, with the inventory open, you get that nice blue shaded sort of transparent background, but the ribbon is still just completely see-through and clear. Now, this does make it look a lot more tidy when you don't have anything open, but the only problem with that is you can actually click straight through it. And definitely not something you want to be doing when you're doing racks or something and you end up walking into the cleave by accident because you're trying to run away, or you're trying to quickly do a switch and you click through it and end up doing something else instead. It's definitely something that's killed me in the past, and it's a little bit irritating in other scenarios anyway, but having that just a little bit with the same transparent background would be absolutely just perfect. There's no real reason not to have it. No one's clicking over there other than for their icons, because no one's going to use that tiny little space, considering it's not reliable to click through anyway. Like, it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's definitely something you can still do. So hopefully we can get a little background on that. It still look tidy, or even make it an option, because I definitely have that enabled. And yeah, so other than that, guys, there's not much else I can think of at the moment that's worth mentioning. Obviously there's things that bug fixes and stuff that Jagex will be looking into and they'll be fixing, but until we realise that they're not fixing it, or until things become a bigger problem, there's not much more that I wanted to mention. So I hope you guys are enjoying RuneScape Mobile, and I do appreciate you guys listening. Hopefully this video has been quite interesting for you. I suppose it wouldn't really have helped out too much because I'm just talking about things that would be nice to come, but if you did enjoy it, I would appreciate it if you do like and subscribe, guys. The growth on this channel is going absolutely amazing. You guys seem to be loving the RuneScape Mobile videos, and because of that, I will be keeping them coming, and I do hope you guys enjoy the sort of series I'm doing while I'm going between mobile and desktop. So, anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye. I just wanted to quickly put on the end of this video that I wasn't bashing RuneScape. Obviously, Jagex is doing a really good job with RuneScape Mobile, and having this game accessible by your phone is absolutely brilliant, and it does look nice. It's coming together really, really well. It's still in early access, so don't take all these sort of things that I've mentioned as negatives. They're just things that would be nice to have in the future. So, again, see you later, guys. Bye.